Hey, yo, man, what time is it?
You know what time it is, man.
2 a.m.?
Yeah, man.
Man, you know what?
What's that?
It's 8:46, bro.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, you know what time that is.
Yeah, man.
Nappy head,
Yo,
Funk Army.
what's up?
Stand up. Get it live, y'all.
Yo, Mo, drop that beat.
You know what we gotta do.
Yeah, man.
We bringing this funk just for you. Repeat after me. Say, you don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best,
You don't.
just gotta outlast the rest.
No, you
You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. I'ma say that again for you. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Here we go, y'all. Now let me tell you a little story about United We Stand. It says we're gonna funk across this funkless land. We gon' stand up and let our voices be heard. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us from spreading the spiritual word. The ruthless corporate greedy don't give a damn about the needy. We need everybody in the house to join us on this one, all right? Y'all say, united we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Are y'all out there? You feeling it? United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. United we stand, divided we fall. Funkin' with the poor people most of all, as they poison our mind with food control. Third eye is wise, sacrifice. Wake up and see what they doing to you and me. Keeping a separate product of Illuminati, like the jail cell did my boss John Gotti. Dirty politics and high-priced prostitution reside in all the important positions. Just look around at the injustice in the world. Some forced to live in a deplorable conditions. Watch us, watch what we do. This rap is coming up just for you. So sit back, relax, check out our phone calls. The nappy hip-hop army always bumping in your drum. Twitter, tweet, TikTok. The ruthless corporate greedies don't give a damn about the needies. A movement, genocide and homicide is happening all around the world. Promise me this, promise me that, when all the fat cats stabbing us in the back. Man, get off my back, bro. Killing me. Let me see you wave your hand. We all wanna take the stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Oh yeah. Nothing but this new type funk 2022. Let me see you wave your hands. We all wanna take the stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Come on, y'all.
What up? What up? What up? Funk from the front seat. It's getting hot in here, y'all. Y'all know how we do. All right, check this out. Today, we're going to do a follow-up. I wasn't going to do it, but it's cool. Thank you for tuning in. 9 on the Grind TV, Funk from the front seat, every Saturday at 12 p.m. We got our round table as usual. Linda Schott is in the house. She's going to be coming in a little bit. Jen Vanderputten is on her way. You know, I hit up a few other people and they might pop in. Mr. Mark Lee, my producer back there, extraordinaire, keeping it real, keeping it funky, keeping it fast, always classy and never last. Mr. Mark Lee back there behind the glass. I thank you. I appreciate you, bro. I love you. I'm your host, number 9. So rather than just jump right into the negative pool and start talking about, moving and death to the U.S. and all this other nonsense, right? We have decided we're going to put our heads together today, and we want to explore different options and different coping mechanisms. So God forbid we have to deal with the same thing. We'll be able to cope with this thing a lot better. Good morning, Christy. How you doing? Love you, sweetie. So we'd be able to cope with this thing a lot better. Right? Because the negative stuff and the piling on and the calling other people stupid because they chose not to vote like we wanted to vote, that stuff has got to stop. That stuff is very, very bad for our country. It's very, very bad for you as an individual. It's very, very bad for people who are young and impressionable. And we as adults, and I put a lot of thought into this all week long, we as adults need to set a better example, because we wonder why our kids are all fucked up and they're looking at us, watching us do shit. So rather than take the low road and throw gasoline, fire, and poison on everything, we on this panel have decided to take a different path. Not that we won't have our strong opinions, because we will, but because it's not going to do anything any good, or anybody any good, rather, to keep pounding away at something. Now, we know there's investigations, all kinds of investigations. We know there are all kinds of, illegal activities that happen underneath the table. We know the gentleman behind the puppet strings, obviously one of them showed himself, which is Elon Musk. And we all know that eventually he's going to be running the country. So you better brace yourself. Because if you don't think that shit is going to happen, you're not really paying attention. And you need to understand, like, president's figureheads. So now they're bringing out the people from behind the black door that we never saw before, and now we're starting to see them. So with this dude in the White House walking around, having access to meetings and this and that, who knows what's going to happen? So the only thing we have is each other. We better hold on to each other, and you better hold on tight, because if people trust you and they in your circle, you need to love them. And if somebody shows you love, you need to really, really respect that love and honor and cherish that, because that stuff doesn't grow on trees. So when we think about the United States as a whole, people say we're divided, but we're really not. We're really just mentally divided, okay? Because, number one, we only have two sides or illusion of choice, okay? So with this illusion of choice, you either have to pick people that agree with most of the stuff you agree with, or agree with people that don't. Now, some of us are conservative and some of us are liberal. You can be both. You can be two things, okay? So more than one thing can be right. Okay, so when we look at our structure of the Electoral College, obviously, to most of us, that doesn't make any sense, okay? So that would be a good place I think we should start as Republicans, Democrats, liberals, whatever. That would be a good place to start. Okay, let's start with that and bipartisan it, work together. And everything I'm personally going to be talking about, not my panel, because they have their own opinions, but basically everything I'm going to be talking about is bipartisan stuff, working together. Okay, so here's what we need to do. We need to sit down with people that have access to the corporations that want to try to continue to rape us and pillage us and kill us. And maybe if we talk enough sense to them, maybe they might understand without the United States workforce, and that means Latinos, Mexicans, Asians, Indian, blacks, whites, Irish, Germans, Catholics, Protestants, gay, lesbian, trans, straight. Without everybody, this country won't move. And I personally think we need to just do like we used to do in the old days. And we used to be like, all right, bet. We're going to pick it and we're going to walk out. And I really think the United States as a corporation, we, the workers, need to have a national walkout. All right. Without further ado, first I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. People with birthdays, happy birthday. People with anniversaries, happy anniversary. Transitions, if you lost somebody, God bless you. Hopefully they transitioned on to another spot. Okay. Now, let's get started. Linda Scheid, I think, is in the house. Mark, I don't know who's back there, but, I'm not really sure. And I know Jen was on her way. I don't know if George is here. I don't know if Kevin's coming, but whoever's back there, let's bring them in. What's up, Linda?
Hey, baby. How are you?
I'm fine, sweetheart. How you doing, baby?
I'm hanging in here.
I know we was worried about you, man. Me and Jen were trying to call you. We was worried. Something was like.
I think I was in shock for at least 2 or 3 days. And I mean, like I said, that was stunning. I don't know how to describe my feelings. It was just stunning and, like I said, so extremely disappointing.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Good morning, George. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Hey guys.
I'm all right, man. Yo, could you turn your camera slightly to your right to get that glare out a little bit? There, you're perfect right there.
Okay.
How you doing down there in Texas, man?
Oh, man, I'm hanging in there, man, taking it day by day,
I feel you. I see you rocking that fresh gear. You keep turning that out. Hello, my friend Jen Vanderputten. How are you, tech extraordinaire, leader of women in many, many forums? How you doing?
Oh no, leader! I'm a leader that's like, wait, y'all are following me? Ooh, no.
Yeah, we following you. Trust me, we all following you. You didn't know that, did you?
No, you look behind and you're like, whoa, no, you guys got the wrong person.
You got elected without even knowing. See, that's how it works. That's politics. That's how it goes.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
You doing all right? Kids
Hanging
good?
in there.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, we get, like, when we talk today, I've been talking about some of the stuff that I've had to do lately because of the results of the election. And I know it's not going to come as a surprise to y'all, but I've never in my life had to, like, lock down my Facebook and things like that. But
yeah. I've been fortunate. I mean, I had a few people that called me. We talked. I said, hey, we still friends. I ain't mad at you. One of my sponsors from 4 years ago to help me get to a show, he's staunch on the other side, and he still calls me. I know his family. I went to school with him. He has his views. I have mine. But, it's funny because a lot of times people don't tell you everything. And there's things that I'm about myself that I don't tell everybody. People look at me and they see me free, this, that, and the third. But I can come out now and say, listen, I've been a responsible gun owner for a long time. I just never told anybody because it wasn't necessary, right? And there are reasons why I did that. But so you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't look at a person and be like, oh, they're against this, oh, they're against that. That's a mistake. And that's where we're going to start, okay? We're going to be freewheeling this thing. But I wanted to start, Linda, with you because you're in a seriously red state, Kansas City, right? And
Missouri.
How do you think we can communicate with people that only see us as the enemy? And I want all y'all to think about that. How can we communicate effectively with people that only see us as the enemy simply because we disagree?
Well, I have to say, in the Midwest, people are naturally very friendly. People speak to you. They don't have to know you to speak, which is very different from the East Coast. And I can't say that we've had any dialogue, but it's nice to see that kind of French, that kind of openness, And it's rare and it's kind of unusual because this is such a Republican state. You would think they would be very intense and, it's just kind of a weird kind of dichotomy. There's like you see the results of the election, for example, but these people are very friendly people. So there would be a possibility of some dialogue or maybe some interaction where we could maybe come to a agreement or at least express our views and see if there's any kind of comparison or any kind of camaraderie involved in that. It's just a process.
Yeah, you're right. Jen, I'm gonna ask you the same thing.
Can you remind me where we started from? I was like,
I was just saying, how
I
do you
lost
think?
in what Linda was saying.
Yeah. I was just saying, what do you think we could say to people right here in North Carolina that are against what we believe in or don't believe in? And what do you think we could do to open up some dialogue and not have the argument and bickering, but rather the understanding that they're different from me, but I'm not your enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough because it's right now. There's a lot. I'm one of these people. I know there's probably a lot of folks right now not feeling really safe to even talk about it, to bring it up. Like I said, I had to lock down my Facebook for the first time ever. Any of my social media, I've never ever had to go private, locked down to like friends only. But I've already started getting misogyny. You know, women are getting approached on the street and they're saying, "Your body, my choice," and things like that.
I heard that.
This kind of stuff is starting to come my way, and I've not, I've seen stuff before, and I usually block, people with the randos that come along. But it's like they're coming looking for you now. And I don't blame anybody for wanting to just stay safe for a while and go underground a bit. I'm not sure. I think people need some time. I think they need to go underground. I think they need to reaffirm. We were talking about this on the phone, Zach, that we need to connect with each other. The people that we know or at least we feel the most safe with. I think we need to give space to each other. If someone's not feeling safe in general, like if women are just like doing the women thing and Black folks are just doing like, we're doing the Black space here right now, and we all just have to be really respectful of the spaces right now that people are coming into to talk and feel more safe. Because we'll have a chance to get together in other forums too, but I think we got to let people have that time in their community spaces to gather up that strength again, to be able to tackle these things again. How to approach it, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like we've been trying to do that for a while, and you keep trying different language, but I think there's just certain people who are so intractable that you're never going to be able to open up a conversation with them and change their minds. So I think the biggest thing right now is trying to identify who might be changeable, rather than just trying to say, how do we approach each conversation, but rather maybe go for quality than quantity.
Yeah.
If that makes
sense. Yeah. George.
Yeah.
I was going to say, down in Texas, right? How would you open up dialogue, or what would you suggest people there do to open up dialogue so there's not this tension and there's not this violence as Jen spoke about, and people aren't trolling women now, telling them they own this, that, and the third? Like, what would be a way that this show today can say, hey, why don't you guys try this? Or why don't you guys try that? What do you think we could do? Especially you're in another red, like surrounded, drowning place of Republicans. So well, what do you think? You were in the military, you're well-rounded. I know you're, a gun owner. I know you have grandkids, kids, this, that, and the third. So what would you think?
Well, agreeing with what Linda said and what Jen said, especially living here, because as you know, I lived in California most of my life.
You're right.
They're way more crazier out there than here. They're a lot more nicer here. I don't face a lot of things that I normally face when I was in California.
Right.
I mean, the open mind, we need a reset. Okay. U.S. need a reset, okay, like a timeout, you know. Just go back and relook at everything that's happened, you know, and try to go from there, you know. Like you got to unlearn what you learned before. You see, I just think that to restart the conversation with everybody getting on the same playing field, you know, everybody should just, you know, I mean, just look at the Midwest. Like Linda said, the Midwest people are a lot more nicer and you know, than what's in the East and what's in the West. You know, everybody from the East and the West should take a page out of the Midwest and take a look at it, at the part as being courteous to everybody. I mean, it will slow a lot of things down, you know. You know, I mean, hey, like you said, I was in the military. I actually faced more things in the military than I did here. You know, it's crazy, you know, and a lot of people. It's a whole different city, I would call it a whole different country when you're in the military.
Yeah.
You see, you whole different set of rules. It's like a lot of the constitutions don't apply to you, you know, over there.
Yeah.
And it can be rough, or you know, for guys like me, it was rough. You see, because I don't like bullies. You see, and I didn't let nobody bully me. You see, so you know, I was considered undesirable. You know, because I'm not getting bullied.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a trip.
Mark, what do you think about that?
My
Like,
dad
you
was
in
in
North
the
Carolina?
military
No.
for most of his life, and he had a lot of problems with racial issues. You know, like some of his COs, I think he actually hit one of them because he said something really nasty to him, and he just couldn't contain himself. And he didn't get arrested, but he got, you know, demoted.
I did the same thing. Hey, a guy tried to pull me out of the foxhole by my steel pot. Okay, because I didn't hear him, and I had a hearing issue because of all the explosions, right? So he tried to lift me out, a lieutenant, and it took 5 people to get me off of him.
I understand.
You see, and I was supposed to have got a staff sergeant rank after that field exercise. I didn't get it because of that.
Yeah, Mark, I want to go back to the question. You're here in North Carolina. How can we open up dialogue so people understand, hey, I'm not the enemy, you're not the enemy, but we fundamentally disagree wholeheartedly on some major things? How do we bridge that gap?
Part of it is doing what my dad's significant other did, and all along those lines, you just sometimes have to be bold and sometimes take action in yourself, and all along those lines, because actually I need to send it to everybody here on this panel and everything, but she got together with change.org, which is a website which I know many of you are familiar with, and she was just basically letting the brothers and sisters, kind of who y'all were alluding to earlier, that are in the service industry, that are Latin American, know that we stand with them, and all along those lines. So she put that out there, and she definitely is circulating that to a number of folks, because we do know that if ICE and some of these other organizations start coming after folks, it's not going to just impact those particular segment of society, but it's going to impact us, because a lot of times we are dependent on them for the construction that we're doing. We're dependent on them for the food industry and for a lot of other things, because I actually created a small video, I think it's a 30-second video, that talked about that, because like I said, that is circulating now, and she did that beginning this week when she realized what was going on in that space. So sometimes it's just a matter of actually taking action, and we can all take action, even if it's a small action, and all along those lines. So like I said, Linda Bellens is in the education space and decided that she would get that out there in that using that platform of change.org. So like I said, sometimes we can just do simple things in order to let the folks know where we're standing and what we are standing for people's rights as well and everything. And you can have simple disagreements as well, and you don't always have to agree with everything that everybody is doing, but you can stand on principles as well. And I'm definitely a believer in folks standing up in their principles of whatever their principles are.
Yo, that's what's up, because good morning. Yeah, we're looking at some of the comments. Lindy got some comments from Christine.
Well, Trump has already decided who is going to be his immigration czar, and I can't remember his name. The guy he's planning to appoint to that position,
Tom Homan.
He's made a statement saying his very first thing he's going to do is the mass deportation. They're getting ready to try to get all these people, like he said, out of this country, one way or the other, for whatever reason. And like I said, that means some of the service industry is going to be lacking personnel. There's going to be a lot of changes coming up, and I don't think that most of them are going to be very positive.
Yeah.
And that's going to have far-reaching effects, and it's the the leopards that are eating their faces thing that you see going around is that a lot of the people who voted for that change don't understand its far-reaching effects. Identifying who will listen to facts, who will listen to sense and reason is really difficult right now because there's a lot of people that, it's a cult. It is. It's a cult right now. And it's hard to tell how many people are in the cult because, like Zach said, don't judge a book by its cover. You might think you're approaching someone who's part of that cult, and their mind is not going to be changed, not easily, and it might not be worth pouring your energy into. Like, we only have so much energy. We have to place that where it's going to be most effective. But if you do come across someone and you get the feeling they will actually listen to facts and figures, they just haven't bothered to look at it because they just don't. That's not what they do. They go to work, they come home, they go to the kids' soccer games or whatever, and they know, but they're willing to listen. Thinking about how the economy and spending, that's a big thing for those who voted Republican this time. Wanting to reduce the deficit, deporting 20 million people, deporting 1 million people. The cost is in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Deporting 20 million people gets to be nearly $500 billion, and they can't even do it in 1 year. You gotta. It might take the whole 4 years to get started on it, and cost $500 billion. They're talking about wanting to take away. They want to reduce the deficit. I think in one of their recent speeches, they were saying like 1.3 trillion or something. We're targeting 1.3 trillion is like somewhere 1.7 trillion is their magic number. Well, they just added $500 billion.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get the rest of that from? That's not even including the effects that losing a lot of people who are working and contributing to our economy in many sectors that are invisible to us, like women's labor invisible, immigrant labor invisible. But we can't afford to allow it to be invisible anymore. We have to start having those facts and figures. Go to the good sources, reputable sources. Get those facts and figures. Get the numbers. Have them at the ready. Put them on a note card and have it in your wallet or your purse. And be ready to pull it out and say, "Do you know how much that's going to cost? Do you know how much that'll cost the domino effect down the line?" They're bringing up these facts and figures, and then maybe you might be able to change some minds around you, the ones who are willing to listen.
What it is too, I think people and that was very well. All you guys are making some amazing points. This is, if it was me, and I don't have this kind of power, but I would ban all news programs, mainstream, Fox, CNN, CSNBC. I would ban all of them because their job is totally to keep us divided. That's their job. Right now, we try to get information from some, we try to get information from others. They sprinkle in the truth, but basically, they're not even trying to be on the same page. There was a time in
what I see, Zach? They don't even deal in facts anymore. They deal in opinions.
Right. That's right.
It's all clickbait. It's all clickbait.
And that's sad because there was a time when a major thing would happen and they would all be there. I mean, even though back then it was still bullshit, it was way less bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now it's like once it can be raining and somebody can say it's sunny and they'll be like, nah, it's sunny, but it's rain. You know what I'm saying? They can't even agree on the basic thing. Whatever one side says, the other side has to say the opposite, just because that's what they're programmed and told to do. Now, I fully expect my show to be kicked off the air soon, because I've been getting YouTube stuff coming from me. I've been getting like messages from them. They're gonna do this, that, and the third to me. I swear to God, I kid you not. I'm just a little tiny person, and they won't let me play the music I want to play. I've been getting fined by YouTube, you know, for playing music that I even got the person on. So I'm gonna say right now, YouTube, any music that I play, I have permission to play it. Okay, because I actually contacted that agency that allows me to do that. Right, but they haven't gotten that information yet because there's a backlog or whatever, and maybe, you know, even my own song, they dinged me for playing my own shit.
I've heard that. I've heard that is a big problem.
Social media is soon going to be under the control of the real demon, which is Elon Musk, besides the other demon, right? And that's where shit's really gonna hit the fan, because a lot of people depend on social media. Now, me, I can live with it, without it. I enjoy doing it. But when I look at how things are shaped, and it says this in the Bible, you can't see the devil till they come calling. They're gonna be invisible, but they're gonna be standing there, right? This is what we're facing right now, because if you, as a woman, Linda and Jen, and all the other women out there watching, if you got to have some person bother you on the street physically or troll you, it's your right not to have that happen to you. Okay? So you don't deserve that. All right? So right there, whether it's trolling, whether it's robotic, whatever it is, you don't deserve to have it happen to you. So it should not be happening. God forbid, if my youngest daughter, you know, she's LBDQ plus, God forbid anybody fucks with my daughter. It's a wrap. I'm going to tell everybody out there right now, y'all can kick me off to God creation. If anybody messes with a Robinson, my daughters, it's a wrap. I'm not even hearing it. I'll spend time in jail and eat and crackers, because I'm not even hearing it, because there's no way in the world I'm going to let anything happen to my baby because some asshole is in there talking about, oh, transgender, oh, this, gay, that, lesbian, that. No. That's none of your business, right? That's where I have a problem with people that were on the other side. You gonna come at me like that, then you want me to be down with you. Okay, I'm gonna be down with you, but you still gonna pop shit and try to threaten me because I'm black, because I'm gay, because I'm trans, because I'm a woman. No, we ain't doing that. You can't have it both ways. Either you in or you out. You know what I'm saying? And if this dude really wants to do the right thing and claims he does this, that, and the third, and all the nonsense and all the complete bozos he's putting in his cabinet, he needs to understand that there is a whole nother side just sitting here and we chilling, but don't think we not armed.
Hey man, you know what? I think because of this guy winning, a lot of women's rights are gonna go AWOL. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
for sure.
I'm gonna tell you,
they want to get rid of the right to vote.
Yeah,
Our right to vote. They said it.
That see, it only takes 2 weeks to change an algorithm in a computer system. He had 4 years to get this stuff done to where no matter how the vote goes, he wins. And every 90% of it is done on the computer. So think about that. And I think there's more women in the U.S. than there are men. So how did he win?
Right. But one of the problems this time around, like a lot of the reason he didn't get far last time is because we did have checks and balances. He didn't have full control of Senate and House. If I
know, you're freezing up. This is freezing up a lot.
Am I freezing up to the rest of you?
No, you're good.
No, I'm
freezing up on my
I think
side.
Linda needs to reboot again.
Yeah, that's all you're in. We're good over here.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
You guys keep disappearing and freezing.
Oh
yeah, that's on your end.
Yeah, that's on your end, Linda.
Yeah, we're all good.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all good.
Yeah.
She needs to go out and come back in.
Go out and come back.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It's This time they have full control. I could be misremembering, but I do recall that there was at least something, the Senate or the House, that he did not have full control of the last time we had in the Trump presidency. This time he has full control of Senate and House. SCOTUS, he packed that, and it's still packed. And now he's, got the whole executive. So, I mean, the extremists are now in control of all of it. And that's why I'm more scared this time than I was the first time. The first time I still had that sliver of hope. And I could see how people were so angry, and I had that feeling he was going to get kicked out on the the next vote, and he did. But this time he's got so much control. That's where I really see the fear of democracy erosion to the point where it could take generations to get it back.
Yeah, I think Christy makes a good point. The whole electoral college needs to be abolished. That's something that people have been saying for years, and again,
but it's not going to happen.
Illusions of choice, right? It's the lesser of two evils, illusion of choice, and that's part of the whole issue. Like, we're in a state of mind to where we actually have to participate in something that we feel will help most of us that are trying to do the right thing. And when it doesn't help as quick as we wanted to, or maybe never, which in some cases it just never helps, right? We feel lost. We feel like we feel today, like on this panel, confused. We feel lack of respect, dignity. We feel like we've been betrayed. We work hard, we pay our taxes, right? But then we feel like we've been betrayed because, I don't see how the system can continue like this. And if he comes in and he's doing all this stuff and he's going to completely drain the swamp and yada, 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 right? It's going to be even worse because it's already messed up with the crazy people we got. So if you don't have nobody doing anything, you ain't got no control, and you let go of the steering wheel, I got news for people. The electric car ain't going to drive itself in real life. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to happen like that. We're going to be crashing. We're going to be burning, and that's why I want to do this show today, because I want to prevent that. I can't make any guardrails. All I can do is put out ideas. But I know this: if you take away guardrails, you're going over the cliff. Now, whether that be intentional or not, that's not for me to say. I personally think it is. I personally think they want chaos because other countries profit from our chaos.
Hey, Zach, along those same lines, I had a couple things I was going to bring up. One is, as far as the media,
I can't see your face.
A lot of times with the media and everything, and all along those lines, a couple of things I was going to bring up in this whole notion of chaos. One, the media a lot of times is playing to its audience, and it's playing to a designated audience, which means that the right-wing audience media is playing to the right-wing audience, and the same can be said for the progressive, or what some people might call left media. So that's part of the problem, is that there isn't objective journalism the way it used to be, because a lot of journalism isn't about reporting in the sense of how reporting used to be done. It's playing toward a target audience. I think Linda kind of alluded to that earlier and everything. So Fox is going to be playing to those folks that are fans of Fox and all along those lines. And the same with Midas Touch, to play to folks that are fans of Midas Touch. So that's part of the problem, is we have to be able to study. And I know you're doing a good job of that, Zach, and looking at various sources and not just looking at one source and everything. Because if you look at one source and it's a source that's got you in a tunnel, you're going to stay in that tunnel and all in that space. You got to be able to.
I watched the Midas Touch. I like that. And it wasn't get rid of, it was just abolished to amend the comment that was made. But I watch a lot of alternative stuff for the past like 3-4 years. I only watch the scroll on the bottom of MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. I watch the scroll on those because that's where any real truth or news is. If you ever notice, like George said or Linda said, it's about opinions. But if you look at the scroll, that's where you can really find out how many truths we send in the bomb stuff. Or you can really find out like where salmonella is coming from in the McDonald's in Denver, Colorado. They don't talk about it, but everything now is on the bottom of that scroll. And I suggest people, if you got to watch mainstream, watch that, because at least you're going to get some things that will help you, because they know they can't have major things happen and not put a bit of it out. You know, they don't talk about the whole thing and they twist the facts, but they have to put some semblance of truth out on the bottom scroll because they're representing what's supposed to be, you know, truths out there. I got another thing to talk about that's really interesting to me. And George, I'm gonna let you lead off on this one. And we're hanging out today with Jen Vander Putten, author and businesswoman and tech, you know, high mogul, future president, Mr. Mark Lee, producer of everything down here in North Carolina. Hay Tide Center, his own show, the Mark Lee Show on Monday nights, and the watch parties and the dance parties, and Linda Scheider, artist, singer, songwriter, actress, Paula Funk, married to Gary Scheider, Hall of Famer. And George DeFunco-Vinci, military, of course. All his great work is back behind me. Served, he's a veteran, so thank you for serving. And he also has his brand that he does on shoes, sneakers, coats, hats, anything you send him. If you send him a toothpick, he'll make something funky out of it. but I wanted to ask you, like, when it comes to the military, George, I wanted to direct this at you. And we've been hearing rumors. And again, ain't nothing solid happens until it happens. But certain generals have already spoken out and said, yo, bro, you ain't coming up in here like that. And I wanted your opinion about it.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, believe it or not. It really depends on where you're stationed, too, you know, and who's in charge, okay? Because you'll find to this day, like back in the 60s, just like back there, you had a company of just black guys. You have a company of just white guys. It's still like that to this day in certain areas. You won't see it. You'll never hear about it in the media. You have to get it from people that been there. You see?
Do you think that the president-elect will try to politicize or make the military the actual police when he's trying to do things such as deport people?
Oh, yeah.
And will the generals allow that? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, see,
he said that.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And he can actually present that and try to get it done with an executive order. Because if he don't do it that way, see, the maybe the government might not let him do it, you know, because like Christy said, he's just the mouthpiece. Okay, he's the one that signs the okay, you know. So he's like, it's like playing Simon Says, you know. So he can do an executive order like he do on the pardons and all that stuff, but he can set it up to where National Guard, reserves, Coast Guard, he can use all of them because, you know, they're ran by the state. He can use all of them and for border patrols and police. Okay, because look when the riots happened back in the 80s, or was it 80, 90, whatever. Look what happened then. National Guard got activated as police. And they had more power than the police. Okay? So it was bad. I'm telling you. It was bad. I was there. Okay?
Yeah. So, I've been in a few riots. I know.
I got a question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I got a question for George. So we already talked about how, you know, several generals have said, you know, they're going to stand the line against a lot of his, you know, problematic policies, the way he wants to weaponize military, and the things he wants to do and change in the military, you know, rolling back some of the progress. At the same time, he and his cabinet that he's forming are saying that they're creating a list of those individuals in the military who say no to anything, even one small thing that Trump wants, that they're going to dismiss them, get rid of them. And he does stand at the head of the military. But what I don't know, as an everyday person who's had no experience with the military, is does he have the power to do that? Can he just say, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out?
Yes, indeed, he
Yes. Yep. Because he's the commander in chief.
can. He's commander in chief.
Yeah.
The
He's
head of
the
the
top
yeah.
dog. He's higher than a 5-star general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is one of the biggest problems. I think one of the biggest mistakes in our constitutional framework
Yeah.
is that is the check and balance that I think was missed, because that's exactly how every dictator has become a dictator, by weaponizing the military.
That part.
That part.
That
And you
part.
know what? You know what? That in itself, depending on how many followers those generals have and loyalists, that could start a whole different division.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're back to that
There's a
civil
whole lot of
war, right?
scenarios.
Everybody picking a side and going against each other.
Yeah.
There are so many scenarios that could pop off in these 4 years coming up that it's mind blowing to even try to, to try to grasp the possibilities and his intentions. It's kind of scary to me.
Let me tell you about a division that's in there now, that besides black and white, that a lot of people don't really it doesn't get a lot of publicity. There are gangsters in the military.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes, hardcore
Yeah.
gangsters too. And you guess what?
Yep.
They turn around and they go back and train gangbangers.
Yep. And that's the same way it is for the Proud Boys, the KKK. A lot of their top executives who rework the system and try to, mobilize. Because I've talked to some of these people, right? And they were all in the military. Now they ain't going to bother me, but if they do, I got something for them. But I've talked to them about like their background, and also I can look at their tats and see what branch of the service they was in, and then they got that circle with the Proud Boy tat. There's a certain sign that Proud Boys do when you walk into a place or KKK, and you can tell, you can see them. You know what I'm saying? So if you know what these things look like, just like gangs, I call them gangs too. It's the same thing.
I don't know if you guys remember, but about
they all been in the military.
A few years ago, they had a football game at West Point, and they caught some of the cadets doing KKK
Yes,
stuff.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. See, and this is part of the issue. Like, we're not talking about these things enough. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. This is for everybody, and because I've told you, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. I heard Linda talk about it. Is it just me, or is everybody really a little bit petrified in this cabinet? Because we got a man that is definitely anti-vax that is going to be the head of Health and Human Services, Kennedy.
Right.
We've got a man that is known as a pedophile that's about to be the AG, talking about gays.
Drug addict.
And we've got a lot of other folks that are about to be placed in charge of.
A lot of addicts around.
People in New York talk about his drug addiction, and people that have been in his circle talk about how heavy into drugs he was. I don't know if he still is, but he used to be pretty drugged out.
Yeah. And see, again, this is all shock value. Now, I'm not shocked by it this time around. I braced myself. I had my one bad day, and then the next day I got up and I was dealing with some other shit. I was like, my shit still got to go on. So I'm not, people are shocked. I'm not shocked by any. If this dude told me he was going to go and, get JoJo the wino from down the street over here, the crackhead, meth head, and make them Secretary of State, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because this is who this dude is, right? He wants to do this on purpose. He really wants to shake us up. And I'm telling everybody, stand strong, stand firm. Don't be shakable. Don't be shakable. And I suggest everybody arm themselves. And I know I'm going to get kicked off for saying that. That's facts.
That's some serious.
I have a question for you, Zach. I wanted to ask you as an entertainer. Do you kind of think that do you remember in the 60s when everybody was making protest songs about the war and stuff? Do you think that the entertainment industry might come around and start dealing with these kind of issues too?
We have to. We have to.
I think so too.
We absolutely.
I think
we're
it's an
obligated.
obligation.
We
Yeah.
have to.
Mhm.
And I
To
already
get
see
the
some people.
message out there, that's probably the only way that we're going to be able to do that comfortably.
Yep, we have to.
And I think more and more people are
That
doing
is
that.
a-
I mean, Zach's doing it. He's got some great songs. I've seen some other artists that are doing it as well. So I definitely think that there are artists that are realizing that importance of having that kind of protest music and all along those lines, because that's just vital and everything. But to your point, Zach, earlier, I was, because you know, and most of the people on this network know I get around by mass transit, and I was talking to my bus driver today and everything, and he was telling me he remembers the first time Trump went into office, because apparently Academy, which is a major bus company, handled the first inauguration of Trump the first time around, and he basically said it was a cluster. You know the word that goes after cluster. I'm not going to say the word, but you know the word that goes with it. Because he was basically saying that he was supposed to pick up this person and this Marine and that Marine, and they kept sending them on this journey, sending them around tunnels and doing all of the Secret Service bomb threats and to see if there was a bomb threat. And basically, at some point, he just said, "I'm going to stop at the hotel," because they kept jerking him around, going back and forth. So it was just too much of a disaster. So he already said he knows that this one's going to be equally worse, because that was his first time around, and he said this was going to be worse because Academy is a major bus company that handles a lot of the transport of major events.
Yeah. You know what, Mark? Didn't we have a slight YouTube video for that tariff thing? Because I was talking about that.
I was trying to find it, and I was going to see if I can still dig it up and everything, because there were several of those that were out there, and I was trying to remember the one that was out there. But
Well, basically, I wanted to ask. There was a comment, right? And it was is the military sole purpose to be a weapon for this country? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not really sure. George, what do you think? Linda,
the military was set up to defend the country, and then it later turned into a weapon, because
They
now,
are the former Klansmen and
Yeah.
Proud Boys and stuff.
now we go out to other countries and fight other people's wars.
That mindset.
That's not what it was really made for.
Just
It
like
was
George
made
said,
to
there's a lot
Yeah.
of racial issues in the military that don't get addressed. The
Yes.
separation and the just like I said, the mental capacity to be a soldier these days. And you have where's your mind? What are you really about? Killing?
I also think a lot of times,
thing, you know.
yeah,
I guess it has to be if you're in the service.
I think a lot of times some things get misconstrued, because I know, my family, plenty of people, my nieces and nephews, they went into the military to get an education. So they used it for college. They didn't go in there to be told what to do. They didn't go in there to hub to, none of that. They were already coming out of high school. So they were actually recruited and coming into the military as upper brass, lieutenants, this and that. They came in like that because of their grades. So a lot of times it's not used for that. It's used for educational purposes. And also another friend of mine said he just wanted to travel the world. My god brother, he said he went into the Navy to travel the world. He liked the ocean. So sometimes people have different means or different reasons why they do things. But I think when it comes down to it, talking about the military, I can't see how any respecting general is going to allow a coup by this dude. Because these dudes go back to, and this, Joe, they go back to the code of General Patton, Eisenhower, MacArthur, all of these great people, Colin Powell. You think if Colin Powell was around and doing his thing, whatever, and was still with us, he would be like, yo, I'm going to just let this dude come in here and take over? I don't think so. This is why I got to, right now in this country, I have to trust my generals to do the right thing. That's the only way I'm going to be able to kind of, wrap my mind around this thing. I have to believe that they will do the right thing. And that's all we got.
But when he kicks them out, when he says, you're out, the question is how many people in the military, because obviously that's one thing, George, I don't think he can do. I don't think he can just stick someone in the military, right? You have to go in, you have to go through there's stages. The ranks. Yeah, yeah, there is at least that to prevent him from just sticking random people in there to be his shills. But people can rise up in the ranks once he's, especially as he gets rid of leaders he doesn't like. And the question is, how many people in the military are rampantly for him and his policies
Well,
and what
if you remember during January 6th, the head of the at the Pentagon, I'm not sure what his position was, but one of the people in the military was amening and holding off the National Guard and helping him do his thing that day.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, that's right. Across the park. Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
He
And
immobilized. I
I
forgot
think
about
one
that.
of them was Flynn's, really related to Flynn, the General Flynn. I think
the General
Yeah,
Flynn was one of
I
them.
forgot about that.
Brother or
He
something.
did do that.
Hey,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
George, I
Right
got
in
a question.
DC too.
George, I got a question for George because I'm not in the military. I've got relatives who've been in the military. But one thing he's talking about doing is creating this, like, basically it'll be like a committee that will help determine whether you get to stay in the ranks and everything like that. So he's basically talking about creating almost like this, almost like a apprentice type thing where you almost got to be vetted in order to stay in the military. Is that even legal, and how are you going to be able to do that? Because apparently he's talking about creating this board that's going to basically determine whether you get to stay as a general or a colonel or whatever your rank is. And that is definitely in the works already, this board that he's talking about putting that will cull some of the people out of the military that he doesn't like.
Well, you know what? He can do stuff. It's gonna be hard to do, but he can do it. But you know, and if he tells you you're fired, you have to leave, because if you don't, that's disobeying a lawful order.
Right.
Yeah, that shit is whack, man. I can't even believe
Yeah.
how we even talking about this stuff. It's crazy. So anyway, we're hanging out today and trying to do a post mortem, you could say, on how we got lobotomized last week. But you know, here's one thing that I do want to mention. How is it that we're trying to, because the dude said he wants to turn everything back over to the states, and in some instances I'm with that, but not all, right? Like, I don't think it should be up to the state to decide whether or not you should wear a seatbelt. I don't, things like that, common sense things that'll save your life. But the education, now, there are already private schools, Mormon schools, Catholic schools, schools of all nature, homeschooling of all nature across this country. So to me, the only thing I think that needs to be reformed when it comes to education is getting the dollars into the rural communities and the minority communities that needs to help, and lowering the cost of college tuition. But other than that, I think every state is already doing its own thing. So why are we messing with it?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we want it? He said, I'm going to completely, change the whole thing. But dude, we're already number 17. You know what I mean? We're already like 10th in math around the world. 17 when it comes to graduating engineers, doctors, lawyers, this and that. We already that. So if anything, you need to, like, hey, how can we teach our kids some shit? Because homeschooling, I think, now is actually a better route. I believe in that now, because your kids actually going to get the attention that they need, and they might actually learn something. You know, the young kids, they can't write in cursive. They got to do a math product like this long to go 3 times 3 is 6. And I'm like, what are we doing this for? If you're going to be an engineer, great. If you want to do all this stuff, great. But why are we doing this? If he wants to do anything to impress me, why don't you do that? Your opinion, ladies. Linda, I'm going to start with you in the corner.
I don't think that's going to be a priority, to be honest. I just don't see that. His last administration, the lady that he put in the Department of
Linda's
Education,
on the lag, y'all.
a little rich woman who didn't give a darn about anything except private schools.
Yeah.
I
Jen,
just don't think that's a priority. I really don't see that.
I think the real reason, because they said they wanted to abolish the Department of Education. I think the real reason is they see it as one of the areas that they can just save money. They just want to write it off, and be able to say, look, we saved this much. That means the states are going to have to make up what they were getting from the federal government. And that's going to disproportionately affect a lot of marginalized communities, especially disabled kids, because a lot of what you get from the disability, the IDEA law comes from that. I did not have good, IDEA was not actually, it's not actually well enforced, and that is done at the state level. So we have very poor enforcement at the state level. If we get rid of the Federal Department of Education, then we won't, I believe that we'll lose the IDEA protection. It will once again be fine to, more fine because, we were just, my family was discriminated against, my son was discriminated against, and all those so-called protections didn't work for him because it has to be enforced. It's only words on paper unless it's enforced. But the problem is instead of strengthening it, instead of taking care of the problems and the accountability issues, just saying that we're going to get rid of it all is just going to make it all worse. I think there should be certain guarantees. We can argue about funding and stuff and where that money comes from.
And
but
speaking of funding, excuse me for cutting you off, but I've noticed that they're using the school's education as a tool to get gambling of legal in state by state by state. And I know, right, especially if I can speak on Maryland, the gambling money was not improving the schools. Most of it does not go paid on salaries, kickbacks, and that kind of thing. The schools were not getting anything. Most of that money was not going to education.
Especially since they hire private companies. They privatize it. So the state does these rules and this is how it's going to be. And then they hand that over to a private company. And the private company is allowed to take all these profits and things. And, there's a very small amount that legally they are required to give to the school. And surprise, surprise, the bare minimum is what all they ever, actually achieve. They are technically, legally, within the rules and boundaries, and the rest of it goes to private enterprise.
Yeah, George, what do you think about that?
Here, our election, they decided they wanted to have, sports betting legal in Missouri now, state by state by state. Like you said, the states are starting to take control of their own environment, and they're being allowed to make rules and do things that they probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise years ago.
You're right about that. I think what's going to happen, a lot of people are going to have to make up their minds if they want to stay in the same state that they in because of the bullshit they have to deal with, or they want to go, like, if you totally like conservative and you live in New York, you might want to get out. If you liberal and you like a place like here, Kansas City, you might want to go there. See, I can see some of this happening, but only a little bit, because people stay where their jobs are, and they go where their jobs are. That's the button. I mean, I'm retired. I can go anywhere. But that's what happens. Sometimes you're forced to stay somewhere where you may not like it in that state, but that's where your job is, and you have no choice. You got a family to feed. You may have a sick loved one. You may been going through something yourself. So you decided to bunk down, hunker down. And also, I truly believe this. If there's a way to get people who are ultra conservative and isolate themselves to understand they won't survive without us. Right. They can stay isolated, but you won't survive without us. Sooner or later, and this goes for the extremely liberals too, you won't survive without conservatives. You could have a heart attack, and the man could be standing over you, could be a Proud Boy, but you're going to want your heart fixed. You ain't going to care at that moment what that person's political affiliation is. And on the other side, you could hate blacks, you could hate gays, you could be conservative, you could hate transgender, this, that, and the third. But if you have a heart attack and the person that's getting ready to give you a heart transplant is the best transgender doctor at Duke, you're going to take that. You know what I mean? Because it's about self-preservation. So if people would just watch that clip, and I'm going to clip this and put it back, it doesn't matter. When you get sick and you have a crisis situation in your body, at that moment, it's between you and your God, if you believe or not. But you're not going to give a damn who's helping you get well. And then when you get well, you go back to your same racist self or your same bullshit self on the other side. That's what I think people need to look at. That's really cool.
It's just like in the military. Just like in the military, when we have a war. Oh, we all won now. But after the war and everybody go their separate ways, it's back to the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of painful, man. And I hate to see it. That's why I'm trying to say something positive. I'm trying to stay positive. You know, we all dealing with life stuff. So hopefully, you know, everybody that has it is funny because the government has the biggest nonprofit organization in this country. You got that right.
I don't see how
Shrinking.
people.
It's been shrinking though.
I
It's
don't see
beginning
how
to
people are homeless and hungry, and we print the money.
Yeah,
We print it.
that's right. What do you? I'm not much of a crypto person. This might be something for you, Linda, or for Jen, but I don't know nothing about it. This artificial money. Maybe Mark knows. What are we doing with this? What am I hearing about? Crypto is gonna take this and mess up that. What are we doing?
Well, it certainly has become a haven for fraud, from what I've been hearing.
It's invisible money.
What is it? Invisible money?
People are investing,
Yeah.
and then they'll see that their investment is growing, and then they'll try to cash out and find out their account's been closed or it's zero balance.
or then you can't cash it out. There's not
there.
there's some crypto that has established itself because it decided to go ahead and sign up with the regulatory bodies, with the formal banking systems of the government, and allow itself to be, formally recognized and regulated. And those are the ones that you can actually move money in and out of a little more freely. Still not as freely as you can with other things that are more established. But everybody and his brother's inventing a new crypto all the time, and then trying to sell it. It's a pyramid scheme. Most of them are just a pyramid scheme. They get you in, it pumps them up. It's a pump and dump scheme.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because the way they dump is by getting other people to come in and buy from them with real life cash. That's the way they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go bankrupt. They just stop doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. They just pump and dump. They create theirs because it's mathematically created. They create theirs, then they go out, and it's all the crypto bros out there on the social media getting everybody to buy in, hyping it up. They're buying in by buying the ones that they started with, and then and they created. They're getting people to pay real life money, and that's how they cash out. And then when they sold their last one, all of a sudden they make their exit and maybe even go and get a new crypto to do it again.
I think
You're
when
right
it
about
first
that.
was introduced, it was kind of okay. Because then all of a sudden the schemers got a hold of it and figured out ways to rape people financially.
Yeah. I think
It's another
that's
con
more of
game.
a subject.
Yes, just another con game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a subject I definitely want to talk about because I'm trying to get the mayor of North Carolina to come back on. He came to visit me, but we were talking about that once privately, and he was telling me about it, and I'm not really down with that. I have very little resources to spend on anything but something real. So, but anyway, we're going to take a quick break, 2 seconds, and we're going to shout out some sponsors, and then also, I want to shout out everybody that's watching, see how you're doing. Thank you for hanging out with us. And also, I want to thank Linda and Jen and George and Mr. Mark Lee and everybody that's chilling right now because we're all trying to, as Prince would say, get through this thing called life.
Mhm.
And basically, we all have to live our lives the way we need to live them. Nobody's life is more valuable or more important than anybody else's, as it was stated earlier in the comments. But I do want to run something that my friend Milo Z sent me a while ago. While you guys take a short break, y'all come back, check this out. Funk on the front seat, back on the other side with our guests and more conversation. Thank you for tuning in.
Yo, what's happening? Where's everybody going? Seems like everybody's fleeing New York. Let me hit up my boy Frank, see what's happening.
Somebody calling me? Yeah, what's up, Mom?
Hey man, what's happening? Do me a favor, come pick me up. Meet me at the spot. Seems like everybody's fleeing New York. I want to know what's going on.
Cool, I'll come.
All right, peace. city is burning, and they running, learn from us. Fire. Yeah, my city is hurting. Where's the loving? Ain't no loving, none for us. Fire. So New York City is burning, and they running, learn from us. Fire. Yeah, my city is hurting. Where's the loving? Ain't no loving, none for us. I hear some people say, damn, I need a holiday. I need to fly away, 'cause New York has had a stay. Now on home, but the city's still my home. Does anybody know just what is going on? Yeah, fire. New York City is burning, and they running, running from us. Fire. Yeah, my city is hurting. With loving, ain't no loving, none for us. I hear some people put us down, calling us a broken town. But take a good look around. New York's always hold the ground. Before you go and cast the doubt, before you go and run your mouth, find out what it's all about. Don't ever count us out. No, fire. New York City is burning, and they running, running from us. Fire. Yeah, my city is hurting. With the loving, ain't no loving, none for us. Ain't nobody none for us. Who the hell are we gonna trust? Maybe just been humming enough. Why gotta be so tough? Don't keep telling me that you still got love for me, 'cause if we were a family, you would help find a remedy. But instead you just talk that shit, but you know we ain't hearing it. So go ahead and fly away, New York will be okay. Yeah, fire. New York City is burning, and they running, running from us. Fire. Yeah, my city is hurting. There's a loving, ain't no loving, none for us. But you know you won't be going too far. Yeah, you know you won't be going too far. 'Cause you know it's still a piece of your heart. Yeah, you know it's still a piece of your heart. But you know you won't be going too far. Yeah, you know you won't be going too far. 'Cause you know it's still a piece of your heart. Yeah, New York's still a piece of your heart. But you know you won't be going too far. Yeah, you know you won't be going too far. 'Cause you know it's still a piece of your heart. Yeah, you know it's still a piece of your heart. New York City, you know you won't be going too far. Yeah, you know you won't be going too far. 'Cause you know it's still a piece of your heart. Yeah, New York's still a piece of your heart. New York City.
I don't want you to
It's Joe
snap my-
Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. Just did a show with my man Zach. Number 9. That's right. Number 9's got it going on. Check out Funk from the Front Seat. Zach Robinson. Serious good vibrations, y'all. What we need. Peace.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check him out.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey fam, what's goody? Hey fam, what's goody good? What's really good? My name is Jeff Roberson from the gospel group called Jeff Roberson and New Life. And I'm coming to you from the town that we had to name it twice. It's so nice. New York, New York. And I'm bringing you some news about my brother from another mother, Brother Zach, who's bringing you his hot new show called Funk from the Front Seat. Listen, he's bringing you funk from the vault, from the past, from the present and into the future. He's got that music that makes the hair on the back of your neck rise up. He's bringing you funk all the way down to your toes. This is that funk that makes you really want to groove. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial as he brings you funk from the front seat. Listen, let's go.
Hi, this is David Webb, founder and CEO of the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center, DBA The Funk Center, and the executive producer of the Dayton Scene radio show. I would like to recognize and honor the legacy of one of the most funkiest underground bands of all time. They are called the Nappy Head Funk Army. Let's applaud this band as they continue to keep funk music alive for generations to come. Their leader, Zach Roberson, who is also the Vice President of Club Funketeer Ambassadors for Bootsy and Peppermint Patty Collins. Zach started his band in 1998 at a George Clinton's birthday party, and his band is still active today. The Nappy Head Funk Army's funky brand of music is the new generation of funk. I applaud their energy and their contribution to funk music. I wish them much success and thank you for keeping funk music alive.
That tune Fire was smoking. Who was that group?
Oh, that's my dog up in New York, Milo Z. Hi, Mia. How are you, sweetie? Thanks for tuning in. That's my Milo Z. He's a good friend of mine. I've been knowing him since, like, I don't know, the late 80s, back in the wetland days or whatever, right? Early
like
90s. But Milo, I'm supposed to do some work with him and record some stuff with him. And go up there and perform with them and get Nappy Head up there. But, you know, I'd like to thank also JTRP, P-Funk Radio, Gabe Gonzalez, Larry Funkster Jones, Bootsy and Patty, of course, HJ Entertainment, K and Jams. Thank you, Kevin. Tony Cameron, the Funk All-Stars, Oak City Music Collective. Love you, Diego. Afterglow, 92416. Thank you, Otis. Thank you, Donna. Q&A Entertainment, Brooke Clagett, My Funk Angel, Patricia Dioria, Aquarius Rising Art, Curtis Wilcox, and, of course, Mr. George DeFunkovici. David Brooks, Dr. B, thank you. Much love. I love you. DJ Cocolino in Ireland, thank you for playing my stuff. Robin Circle of P, I love being on that thread because we have a lot of fun. And, of course, the gentleman you just saw, David Webb. DJ Elizabeth in Ireland, thank you so much. And DJ Monica in Switzerland, thank you so much. And most of all, thank all of you guys. So let's get back to the subject. We were talking about cryptocurrency. I saw a few comments, so I just want to read what they say. I don't know anything about it, but basically you guys are telling me it's no music. Hi, no music. It's phony money. Is that what it is?
Pretty much.
It's invisible.
It's only as good. It's only as
you can't go to a store and pay with crypto. You can't go to go buy stuff, with crypto. You have to get cash.
Though there are some places like online that will do it.
Right.
But my understanding is it is mostly used for nefarious transactions, especially since they can.
There are some stores that do. Yeah, there's some stores that do crypto. Very few, but there are some places that you can buy. It's not like you can, but there are few and far between. I was getting ready to say that what's going to make it very interesting, and I don't know, your thoughts around this, Jen, but you're in that technology space, probably one of the biggest hustlers of all time, has got his own cryptocurrency. So actually, he just released it. So Trump has his own crypto. So it might be an effort to make it go totally the way of society because he just released his own cryptocurrency. So I personally think that he's trying to push us into going crypto, but that's just
because he invested
Well,
in.
he had one. I mean, the Doge one has been like a failure for a long time. You could buy, so as a joke at Christmas, last Christmas, my husband bought Doge coins. It's one of these where that represents like one of the cryptocurrencies, one unit, and the coin itself, the materials are worth more than that unit of crypto was worth. He was another failure. Dogecoin was another failure, and
So what would you suggest we do? Should we all start stocking cash? Like what's the alternative? Again, we want to give our audience alternatives. What should we still continue to credit cards and debit, and what are we doing here? Because sooner or later, if this thing collapses, people are going to need some kind of exchange currency way to exchange currency.
I wouldn't worry about that. I would pay attention to what the bankers are saying or doing, because the bankers control the politicians more than anyone else does. And most of the time, they don't care about the human part of the politics. All they care about is what affects them as banks. So when you're talking about traditional banking and what you rely on, the banks don't want to see that end. So this is the one silver lining you have, is that even though they are making, socially, some of them making socially evil choices or ignoring social issues, right? Because they're just focused on banking. And for all the, problems we've had in banking and bailouts and things like that, one of the benefits is that if your money is in one of these major banks that care about keeping things going the way they've been, then they are kind of, on your side in that particular respect. So I'm not too worried. They can try. That's one thing that they will not succeed at, because the bankers get what they want every time. No matter
I got one quick question though. How come Normia only says hi to you? What's up, Normia? You don't see the rest of us up here? Oh, see? She always says hi to you. Like, all right, that's okay. It's okay. And we love you. It's okay. You ain't got to say hi to the rest of us. We here. But I love Normia. She's cool, man. She's a good woman. Another strong, smart, businesswoman who happens to be Black and doing her thing and very educated. So hopefully we get you back on the show, But yeah, so let's move on to.
I want to change
continue to do
second. Did you guys see Tyson's fight last night?
No.
It was
I'm a
garbage.
nerd. I don't do sports.
That was
It was garbage.
I didn't see the fight, but I heard it was garbage.
That was a $17 million joke.
I didn't
it
pay
was
no
an
attention to that.
exhibition. Exhibition fights will never have the same magnitude as a title fight.
They got 17 mil for that fight.
Yeah, it was just.
Why would somebody want to watch
it? All Tyson did was this for for 6
Yeah.
rounds. Just this.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was.
He wasn't even throwing punches. He was basically just protecting his face for 6 rounds. The first 2 he killed it, but after that he just lost it.
The other 2 fighters.
I didn't think it was going to be
better than him.
I didn't think it was going to be anything. I really didn't. I know it was hype. Got a lot of hype.
Oh yeah.
This country loves hype, so it got hype. It was a distraction for a day.
And you see who was promoting it? FanDuel, another one of those betting apps.
Yep.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, because the NFL, they never used to be in bed with gambling. It was always the mob gave us the football
tennis,
cards.
golf,
Now
everybody.
they are.
Oh.
That's why I think the NFL is fixed.
I know I've seen a couple of tennis matches I know that were thrown, and it was obvious.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how
it's
obvious.
fixed.
I mean, and I'm not even a pro, and I knew that some of those matches were like fixed. It was
I think
obvious,
everything
it
we
was
see
ridiculous.
is going to be in the grid. And when the grid goes down, what you going to do? That's a little hint for y'all.
I see you got your plug in.
That's a little hint for y'all,
I see
but
you got plug in, Zach.
Yeah, I have to get the plug. You know, a little bit. I dropped a little bit, see, because that's going to be hot coming at y'all soon. But I really wanted to know, as far as
here we go,
our
everybody.
children, let's go to the kids, right? What are you telling your grandkids, Linda? What are you telling them right now about the state of affairs?
I'm not really, my grandkids that I'm living with are too young to really even have an interest in something like that. The older ones, I'm not really in touch with right now. So I can't really say.
Right.
But if I
Then
did,
what are you telling your
I would try
sons?
to give them some truth.
Yeah. Jen, what are you telling your sons about their future in this country?
I mean, I don't think that's changed as much because they are already adults. Like, one's going to be 18 in a few months, the other one's 21. And it is easier to talk to your children, if I can call them that, when they are older and they have that more adult brain. They are post-adolescence or, far enough in adolescence that they've had that brain development. Both my sons, I'm very lucky that they are very astute. Our family, when my husband was alive and they were younger, we ate dinner all the time. And my husband and I would often have these, we tended to agree pretty much on politics, but we would still go through a debate. We would still play devil's advocate and go back and forth. And we thought our kids were just eating and they would goof off like little kids do across the table or with their feet under the table and stuff like that. And we didn't really think they were paying attention to us, but we were doing that. And at some point, for some reason, we just stopped for a few weeks or a few months. I don't know if we were just busy or what, or our minds were elsewhere. And our oldest son at the time, who I think was only maybe 12 or 13, goes, "Aren't you guys going to talk like you do? I really enjoyed listening to that. Can you guys talk about something again?"
Right, they're paying attention.
Yeah, well, they were paying attention and they were noticing, and now they see that because when Adrian was going through middle school and high school, he would always get from his teachers that the one time he came out of his introverted shell was when he was discussing in the political science classes, the history classes, the social sciences classes, and English literature and things like that. When they were having these, philosophical and intellectual debates, that's when he came out of his shell. And they said, he was very eloquent and very well thought, and pulled from sources. And now that's what I'm hearing about my youngest son through middle school and high school, is that he brings college level discussion into high school, and they're very impressed with that. So you don't even necessarily have to try. You just have to not hide from your kids. Don't hide your own mind from your kids. Let them see your mind. Let them see your intellect. Let them see your thoughtfulness, and they'll follow.
The kids that live here now, they're 6 and 13. My older grandsons are 20s and up, but they're living their own lives, and we don't really have that much contact anymore because they're in Maryland and I'm here.
Yeah.
I miss those guys. I miss being able to hang out with them.
Yeah. I know the young people. Oh, George, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say my kids are spread out. They out there doing what they do.
Yeah.
When they
Living
were younger.
life.
Yep, living life. When they were younger, I was, able to teach them and tell them a few things. Whether they took it and ran with it, that's on them, because they're grown. My granddaughter, I just ask her how she like her Mickey Mouse dolls.
Right. She's too young yet to know. Yeah, and sometimes that could be good.
I'm just gonna say that I mentioned that
I'm doing fine.
I mentioned that
What you
whole
say,
thing.
Mark?
I mentioned that thing earlier about that petition, and two of the signers of that petition were my two nephews, because they realized that they've been engaged in conversations since they were very young, not just conversations that I've had, but my younger brother and my only brother is very much intellectual. And as you know from our conversations, so is my dad and mothers, which is their grandparents and everything. So they're used to these kind of conversations. So they're very much engaged in that. And actually, even to what George had said earlier about the difference in regions and everything, there was a young lady before we started this show that I was given a tour to of the Hayti building and of the history walls that are here, because she's here visiting Duke's campus because her oldest, she's got, I think she told me 7 kids. I'm not sure what the mix up is in terms of gender and even orientations, but she's got 7 kids, but she wanted to make sure to get some history in this area while she was here, because her daughter, I believe it's the oldest one, is going to Xavier University in New Orleans, but is attending a symposium at Duke University. And while she was doing that, her mom came here to get some of this history. So I would urge anybody not just to think about their present, but also learn their history, because if there's that old saying, if you don't learn from your history, you're destined to repeat it. And we saw some of that
exactly
even
right.
in this election as well. So definitely study that history and study some of that past of that woman. And I think she owns a boutique in California based on the email that she gave, and everything is in that entrepreneurial space as well. So we need to support our entrepreneurs and also be students of history. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, Zach, I wonder about, all right, we all talk about history, but what about her story?
Her story is very important as well. And there's a lot of very big.
I like that.
As a matter of fact, what sometimes people forget, and I'm just going to go down that path, and I'd love to hear what definitely Linda and even what Jen has got to say. Even when we think of the religious books, whether that's the Quran or whether that's the Bible or a number of others, a lot of times we forget the powerful women that are in those holy books and everything. We pay attention to the man figures and the male figures, and a lot of times that's where we get into that trap that Jen was talking about earlier, where folks are having that whole notion that it's her body, their choices, which we know is an outright lie and everything like that and everything. So definitely we need to study the rich history of the women, because I can tell you that even here at Black Wall Street, it would not have been as successful without some of the strong women that were involved, and not just the male figures. As well.
And I go back to the book of Enoch, and I always said women are the strongest people on the day one. You guys are Mother Earth. So men, we have our strength in different ways, but I've always felt that way, that's why I was disappointed personally that we didn't get this dub for the women. Because men, we got sports, music, this and that. So we should have been trying to hang this dub for y'all. But again, I believe that wholeheartedly what you just said, Mark. And anybody that's watching, thank you for joining us. We're trying to just set up some ways that we can heal. There's organizations out there. I know North Carolina has one that they're setting up right now. Mark, I don't know if you heard about this, but there's one downtown, and it's a group of people that are getting together, and it's going to be a support group for however you may feel or however you may be in your feelings about the post-election. But do you have that video about the guy, the tariff?
I don't, but I can explain the videos, since I was not able to find the one that's been buried in amongst thousands of other videos. But there was this notion that a lot of people were feeling, including some of the
Wait, let me set it up. Let me set it up. Here's what happened. Some reporters went to a area where there are a lot of Trump supporters, okay, for y'all to know. And he was asking questions. And he was asking questions about the tariff. And he had, his educated person with him. And he went to a small business owner. I believe the gentleman was printing T-shirts and was ordering them from China. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
No, and in the video, he was asking him who was going to get hurt by these tariffs. And the guy was basically giving the impression that the tariffs were going to hit China, and that China was going to be the ones that would be hurt by those tariffs. But the actual people that will be paying the tariff cost is the businesses here in the United States. So that's what that reporter was pointing out, was that you think that you're hurting China, which is supposed to be one of our adversaries and everything like that. You are not hurting definitely China or even their industry, because the ones that have to pay those tariff costs are actually the business here. And of course, what they will then do, which I don't think the video explained, is pass the cost on to you. So
exactly.
But that's what he said, because the guy said, he said, they're going to pay it. And then the reporter said, no, you're going to pay it. And he said, how are you going to make that money? He said, well, I guess I'm going to have to pass it off on the consumer. But then
Right.
he didn't realize in his stupidity that whatever he buys is happening to him. He is the consumer.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's one thing
Right.
that I think people got duped on, and I think it was intentional. And I think because a lot of people in rural areas and certain areas of the country don't really do import and export like, say, major cities, they were misinformed. It doesn't make them stupid, doesn't make them less than us. It just means that they didn't pay attention to the details. They were misinformed on purpose because
But
they
yeah.
were looking at people eating cats and dogs and this and that. And this dude was like slipping the tariff word in. The tariff.
But-
It kept coming up the tariff. So they just assumed it was just another thing that he was saying. So
But Zach, that wasn't the only time
for
they got
anybody
mis-
that has a small business,
But that wasn't
you
the
know,
only
you're
time
gonna
they
have to be
got.
aware of that.
But that wasn't the only time they got misinformed, as I know, because we're all very smart people here and everything. The economy is actually in strong opinion and everything, but because there
Yeah,
is
it
some
is.
prices that are up and all along those lines, there are people that are concerned that their gas is going up or their eggs are going up. But even one of the videos that showed the eggs going up, it was literally, and I do remember that video, the eggs that were being complained about were actually cheaper than they used to be, but nobody paid attention to the cost of the eggs that were behind them and everything, because that video was actually circulating there where they were complaining about these $6 eggs, and actually, if you look closely at the video, the eggs were actually probably about half that cost and everything along those lines. So there's a lot of misrepresentation, including misrepresentation about how the economy is doing. I'm not saying that things don't cost a decent amount of money, but even gas prices have been steadily going down. They may spike just because they historically spike around this time because we're going into the holiday time.
Travel.
Things
That's right,
we were
that's right.
joking about, and I got
And
to
check this out. We got about. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
But the problem is, and so I've had debates with many of these people, and even when I provided them with the facts, they refused to believe them. They said I was a liar, a shill for the government, I was brainwashed by the government. So it doesn't matter how much you give them good information, and it doesn't matter how you present it. I was just facts, ma'am. I was laying down the Jack Webb there, right? Just the facts, just logic,
Yep.
just math,
That's right.
just numbers,
That's right.
and getting called the most vile misogynistic or just plain vile, period, nasty things, and because they don't want to. And so part of the reason why they got duped is because emotionally they're picking people saying things that confirm their hatred of the other side.
Exactly.
And that's the part I don't know how to get over. I'm not sure what percentage out there that represents, but I don't feel like we can waste their energy on those particular individuals. I think the biggest question is the same one I had at the beginning. How do you identify the ones who are willing to listen?
And dare I say, I'm going to say the C word. They're a cult. I'll say it. I'm going to put it out there and say it. They can kick me off tomorrow. I don't care. Because you know, doggone well, when people start following people off the bridge and then people like, oh, yeah, they falling. Well, you know what? I'm going with them, you know. But here's something. I'm going to close with this topic. This is more important than anything we've ever discussed in a long time. Now, let's look at it this way. Plastics and the medical industry, okay? Plastics is in everything we eat, consume, smell. It's in the air, our oceans, miles and miles, garbage dumps of plastic. The fish eat it, we eat the fish, we get sick. And then it's a direct correlation to healthcare because healthcare industry needs customers. So they can't make the money they want to make if they don't have customers. So we are not doing anything, and I haven't heard one politician on any side ever mention the fact that we need to stop flooding our oceans, polluting our air, and get environmentally sound. There are factions of each side that are talking about it, but we need to try to figure out a way to move that to the forefront because people don't realize every month, every human being in the United States around the world consumes a credit card's worth of plastic. It's a fact. Scientists have proven that. You take out a credit card, a debit card, you're eating that much plastic every month. That stays in your system, causes cancer, causes brain fog, causes all kinds of things. Why are we not talking about that?
Well, you just said the important part, which is that it's a lot of times the pharmaceutical
Good
and the medical
question.
industry don't want to talk about those kind of things because that's how they make their money. And as I think it was Jen said earlier, the banking industry is trying to do a lot of things that are in their interest and all along those lines. So we definitely have to be willing to step out on the ledge and talk about those issues that are difficult to talk about. But I know that that's part of the reason they don't want to talk about it is because they're making a whole heap of money from it. And that's everybody from the pharmaceutical industry, which is very big here in North Carolina, to the finance industry, to a number of other industries, even half of our hospitals. And you know this because, well, a lot of you know this because you've been in that field, are in the for-profit business, and they are not even hospitals in the sense of the old style of hospital that was for the people. They're in it to make money.
So if they get me and I blow up, y'all know why. I don't care. I had to speak on it.
You know what's
I
always
had to
blown
speak
my
on
mind about the banking industry is, for example, you go into a bank for a loan and they're asking you for a collateral. And my first thought is, if I had collateral, I wouldn't be in here asking you for money. I could take the collateral and sell it and get the money from that. You know, that whole concept.
They never give loans to people who actually need it, except through the form of credit cards and payday loans and things that are more predatory. Have those, have little regulation on them where they can basically clean you out. But the stuff that has highly regulated and protects the person who's being lent the money, those are the ones that they don't let people who need it into.
Yeah.
It's like pawn shops pawning people.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You're not wrong.
If we need to figure out how to take better care of our health, because we become slaves and dependent. Like Kev said, there's no money in curing the sick in the United States. That's right. And I'm going to add this. There's another, there's more money in pretending not to stop it than it is to save it. Because like George said before, okay, so it's big business, right? And it doesn't matter what you have, whatever, what's wrong with you. But how is it that you can go in, any fast food restaurant and eat whatever the crap that they serve, right? And spend that money. But then when you get sick, it costs you like $490 for a pill. You know what I'm saying? So, and you need that pill or that surgery or that procedure, right? And it's only because of the stuff that we've been pumping in. And it's not just us. It's the whole world is churning like this. Our grandparents and parents was much healthier than we were, even though they got illnesses, because they grew their own food, had their own garden. But now the pesticides, the chickens, the chicken feed, the sprays, everything is designed to make us sick. And we need a communal response to figure out how to stop this, because this is beyond the scope of even trying to make it to the next generation. If we're all wiped out, who controls the world? You know what I mean?
We gotta have more people that are in the space of healthy living. I'll actually throw a person that's been joining in our conversation that I know is friends with Jen, but she is very much in that space as well, because I know that Normia is very much into that healthy living. Jen can probably speak to it better than I can, since they are best of buds and everything. But I know just in her coming to the dance class that she is oftentimes talking about what she's doing gardening wise and other healthy wise. But I'll let you speak to that, Jen, since I know that that's one of your best buds and everything along those lines.
Yeah, she and I share that as a common interest. I probably said it on the show before, but I do a lot of gardening.
Yeah, I know.
My own home canning, and I do. Regardless of where I tend to purchase Whole Foods, and they tend to cook. So I cook from scratch, and a skill that every human being really needs to know how to do, because it's amazing how much you can improve your health by just taking simple, low processed whole foods. And Mia, this is like her jams too. Is, just some rice, some lentils, some vegetables, and a protein. And then all the wonderful seasoning and spices that you put it all together and it makes it delicious. And a family affair, make it a family affair, have everybody a part of the meal making process and serving and cleaning up, because there's your ability to get that family togetherness, even if it only happens once or twice a week. And you will be surprised how body and soul, how healing that is, because food is medicine. Me and I, like maybe about this time last year, or maybe not even, not that long ago, went to a lady who was talking about how she used microgreens. She started growing microgreens to solve a lot of her health problems. There's a lot of, so I started doing that in a cabinet in my house. She's like, you can do it in a bowl on your counter. There's just these little things you can do. Just come on. Yeah. Well, that is how traditionally we would make soaps, is some kind of animal fat.
Hey, I believe,
or plant glycerin, but
I believe sugar kills more than bullets.
But yeah, it's, Zach, you said it's we want to do the pill a day thing. We don't want to cure anymore. We don't want to do what is a more permanent or longer term solution, because it's all for profit now. If you look at some of the earliest advances in medicine, it was often people who were doing it in the public space. So, and they were often like independently wealthy people who were just interested in that subject, and so they're just sitting there in their little, their own little labs and doing things and writing papers and releasing it to the public for the public use. But now it's all proprietary, it's all intellectual property, and they don't want you to just, get that one treatment and be all done. They want, they want to drag it out. They, for the rest of your life, if they can, with that pill a day stuff.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just like fixing a car. And they don't want you to fix it. They keep you coming in to get the brakes done. They keep come in. It's just like fixing a car, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
That's why, when it comes to pushing drugs on this country, we're so medicated, we can't get out of our own way. And I speak that from truth. I don't care who you are. We are so quick to put our kids on medication. And sometimes they need it. It's justified. But sometimes all they need to do is go outside and play and burn some energy and socialize with other kids their own age and stop trying to be adults. When we was kids, we wasn't allowed to hang out and listen to what adults was talking about. It was none of our business. And they would shoo you away quicker than a fly. And if you even thought about bad-mouthing your parents or your kids, your parents or your uncles or your aunts, you know what you got. So we developed our own sense of self-worth by hanging out with each other. And a lot of times I feel these young people have lost their self-worth and they're blinded by social media, which is, we're going to end with this, because social media right now,
don't forget the
is
electronics,
out of control. It's just boom. It's gone. It's in a place now, like they say, you can never get the crap back into the horse. It's just on its way down this line, going 1,000 miles an hour. You got the TikTok, you got this, you got that, you got all of this stuff. And it's basically,
don't forget the electronics.
I don't want to say raising our kids, but it's influencing a lot of our children. It really, really is. So I'm going to give all y'all the big screen and let you give your last thoughts. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. You guys could go back and watch to your heart's content. YouTube, I did have permission to run Milo Z's video. Any music that will be played will probably be mine from now on, so please don't sue me for that, because I have no money, so please don't do that. And I want to thank all my guests, and I'm going to start with Mr. George DeFuncovici. I'm going to let the ladies go last. And George, I want you to tell me anything that you want to talk about, or any message, or anything that you want to pass on to our crew, and then I'll get Mark Lee back in here.
Hey, I would like to, first of all, thanks for having me on here today. And like all you young folks out there, you know, hey, pay attention to what the elders are saying, because you know they've been there, they've done that, and a lot of times they don't want you to make the same mistakes that they made. Okay, and they know a lot better than what you're thinking about going to go do in life. You know, just listen. It's not like we're telling you what to do. Is we're advising you of what could happen if you do certain things. So, you know, keep an open mind, and you'll go far. You know, and unlearn a lot of the things that you were taught in school, because a lot of the things that taught in school was jaded. So, you know, learn from your elders. That's what I got to say.
Hey, thanks so much for inviting me into your sanctum again there, Zach. I think as a a person who just saw this election that, like I said, it devastated me. I hope that everybody has the inner strength to hold on. Things can, if they get worse, they can always get better. And make them better, we have to work together. We have to pull up our panties, big girl panties on, and deal. Much love, everybody.
Hey, always an honor and a pleasure to come on the show. Thanks for listening to me and my ranting. I would just say take care of each other. If there's things in your life that are creating too much chaos and taking away from your peace and your ability to have the strength and the energy to fight what fights you can, for yourself, for your family, for the communities that you care about the most, that you advocate for the most, then do what you need to do to preserve that energy. Do what you need to do, because you know you can't fight every fight, and certainly can't spread yourself too thin. So you know, go ahead and be picky and choosy. You've got the permission.
Great conversation, amazing conversation as always, and glad to be producing this show. Zach is doing a great job, does a great job of bringing in these powerful panels as well as addressing what's going on in the funk music community and all along those lines. But one of the things that I've got to say in addition to that is that as a lot of people were alluding to earlier and everything, we've definitely got to maintain that interest, maintain that ability, because one of the things that we have to make sure that we're doing, and I think Jim was kind of alluding to that, is make sure that we are being in tune with ourselves in what I like to call those main pillars of life. So try to make sure that you are physically aligned, mentally aligned, spiritually aligned, emotionally aligned, and definitely, even as a new friend of mine put it, fiscally aligned as well. So all of those are things that we need to make sure we have alignment in, and all along those lines, so that we can be in the best health that we can be in, no matter what's going
Mark,
on. I'll leave it
amen.
on that
Yeah.
note.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. You guys been amazing. I wanted to come on and bring us all up.
Always
I want
a
to say
pleasure,
thank
you guys.
You guys have always been there for me, and I just want to be there for you. And you know, we're going to be going a lot more live now, because I think we're going to be needed now. You know, I took a lot of time off the summer, whatever, but I think now, as you guys get ideas, and anybody that's watching get ideas for shows or topics or comments, please let us know, or you can let somebody on the panel know, and then we can do a show and talk about it. Because Namia, we got to get you on and talk some health and talk, you know, how you maintaining that and what you about. So, you know, you got to hit me up. We still here, going strong after 4 years. But everybody out there watching, Christy and everybody who put comments on, and all the great people that we love out there, man. We appreciate you guys, Kev. Appreciate you, man. And we want you to know there is a place for you to go when you need to express yourself in a way that lends credibility to what you're thinking about. Because today, the quote word is gaslighting. So everybody's gaslighting everybody. But here's a little tip. don't let anyone tell you your thoughts and feelings aren't real. And don't let anyone make you feel bad about your thoughts and your feelings, because they're your thoughts and your feelings, and you're allowed to feel that way. And let's try to understand both sides of the fence. Let's sit down with somebody, that you may not agree with and say, okay, listen, I know why you might have went for the character, but why do you think it's okay to try to just pick up people at random, snatch them from their kids, and send them out when they're hardworking people? These are the conversations we need to have, the realistic ones. And maybe they'll give you an answer, maybe they won't. But at least you're having a conversation rather than yelling and screaming and all this other stuff. And we're going to end with something positive. So thank you, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Funk from the Front Seat. Thank my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, Jen Vander Putten, and Linda Scheider, and everybody out there watching. We love you guys. I'll see you next Saturday. Peace.
It's however you feel, but you just have to fit it between that space, that little space that you got, which is one. And then you would try to fit your different notes, but you felt in between it, like, and that's the funk, and you can change that, and that's the funk, and you can change that.
The funk is the power of the one. It's the power of the one.
off this mother. Running up girls in the bar to the dollar, to the loop this baby mama.
You give me the power to feel stuff. You give me the power in what I think of. Power. Oh, you give me power, baby. Of the funk is the power of the one, Bob. One!